Hey, welcome to Planetary Pennies, Astrology Overview and Look at the month ahead of October 2020. Before I start, some people have been telling me they're finding it difficult to find their particular sun sign, and they don't particularly want to read or listen to all the other sun signs, which I fully understand, unless of course you know your ascendant or your moon sign, and then you can also look at those for yourself. So my lovely tech guy Jerry has just given me a brief description so that I can explain to you how you find your particular sun sign. So if you look down here at the bottom of the video here, you should see a little arrow. I think at this point it's probably pointing upwards, but it has something written on it that says show more. Now what you have to do is you click on show more and a description box drops down, and then you will see like an index for all the signs. So you'll have, Leo, and it'll start with the overview for October plus Leo's astrology. So that way I'm hoping it'll be a lot easier for you to navigate around this channel. Okay, so with no further ado, and I really hope that helps to explain it, I will continue with October's overview. So we are now in Libra season. So, when the sun moves into Libra, it kind of focuses us much more on the relationship aspect of life. So that would be the relationship aspect of, for example, our one-to-one close friendships, our one-to-one intimate relationships with family, with more, our wider friend circle. I also think, because when I looked at the chart, and I'm going to go over that briefly in a minute, when I looked at the chart for October, there is actually a pretty strong emphasis, in spite of the sun being in Libra, there is an emphasis on relationships. And I think this is on a rather grander scale, because I think this is actually on an international scale. Relationships between countries, relationships within countries, between communities. My sense is, because we have Mars retrograde, and it will be for quite a while, in Aries, and Mars is making this harsh, difficult aspect to the big boys, Saturn, Pluto and Jupiter in Capricorn, which is in the 7th house of this October chart that I've set up. And what that tells me is that I really feel governments and world leaders are going to really struggle with keeping people safe within the confines of lockdown, because I suspect there's going to be a real movement underneath, or underground if you like, of the masses, the populace, getting very frustrated with lockdown, getting very frustrated with the fact that they are being so damaged financially in their individual businesses. They are losing jobs, and so there is going to be, I think, a real surge towards this kind of unrest. And my sense is that as these planets, that is Pluto, Jupiter and Saturn, start to move forward again in Capricorn, because Pluto actually starts to move forward on it moves forward on the 4th of October. So we will then have these three big boys going direct in Capricorn. So that's Saturn, Pluto and Jupiter. Now remember, Jupiter expands, and Jupiter can expand negative stuff as well as positive stuff, because it's like Jupiter is kind of neutral. So what I want to say with this is that, Pluto is pushing us towards transforming the way we actually govern our planet. It's pushing countries to transform the way they administer their governmental duties. It's on such a broad scale. You see Saturn that is also direct now, because Saturn went direct at the end of September. You know, Saturn is about governments and order and law and restrictions and boundaries. And I really feel that there is going to be quite a tension throughout the month of October, because as we move towards the end of the year, when these planets, in a sense, meet up much more tightly, because Jupiter, and again, remember, it expands what it touches. That's great if you've got a winning lottery ticket. And maybe we'll get some of those this month, who knows? And let's hope I'll go and buy one. And it expands what's negative and what's dark as well. So, you know, we also have to remember that we're moving towards the US elections. And we've seen in other years how tense things get throughout the world as we observe what's happening on the United States stage in these kind of events that have to unfold. So what I'm saying on a more personal level is, be mindful of your close personal relationships. Be mindful of short tempers with each other. I notice, for example, on social media, one gets a lot of kind of attacking going on between people. You know, there's the pro-masks against the anti-masks. There's the pro-vaxxers against the anti-vaxxers. I mean, people, we've all got to try and live together in harmony. And at this point, does it matter on one level who's right and who's wrong? It's just that perhaps we have differences of opinion. And I think if we can respect each other's differences of opinion, as we all strive towards building a stronger future and somehow pulling together the dramatic change that this planet is kind of going through at the moment, if we go with that, because, you know, when you when a branch holds itself firm against the wind will snap it and break it. If it bends, then it can survive. And I think one of the underlying symbols for me about this month is that what we have to do is actually bend with that force of the wind. We've got to bend with the force of Saturn and Pluto and Jupiter moving towards their final kind of meeting in November, I think it is, when they finally all get together. The other thing I want to talk about before I move on to your individual signs is that we have a Mercury retrograde this month. Now, please don't fear Mercury retrograde. It can be a good thing, because it can give all of us, including the government, second chances to tweak things, to get things right this time. You know, as countries throughout the planet are beginning to see that they may have to enforce larger lockdowns again because of this kind of second wave that, I don't know whether the first wave ever went away, to be quite honest, but we have this kind of surge in virus cases. It feels like, hopefully, every single government throughout the world will use the vision of hindsight. I mean, we all know that 2020 is going to have that stigma on it forever of 2020 hindsight. And but you know, this Mercury retrograde is helping that. It's saying, look, we can see what we perhaps didn't get right last time. Let's try and actually get it right this time, because that way maybe we can save lives, we can save jobs, we can save businesses. So that's the positive of Mercury retrograde. The sort of the more downside of Mercury retrograde, and Mercury's going to be in Scorpio, and he goes then back into Libra, and he doesn't go direct till November the 3rd. So we've got, from the 14th of October, we've got this Mercury retrograde period. Yes, we can expect delays in travel, but I think we know why, and I think we're all more aware that if we are booking long distance travel or even short distance travel, it may be subject to change or cancellation. And I don't think we can just stop living our lives because of all these restrictions. I think we have to learn to adapt. And by adapting, I think respect everybody's own individual wishes within that. And respect each other, because this Libra emphasis on relationship, I do feel is super important for October. You know, this Mars square to Saturn and Pluto and Jupiter, you know, there's going to be a lot of kind of sparking off and fights and arguments, and it's just quite tricky. I just want to look at what Uranus is doing, because Uranus is retrograde, of course, in Taurus, and I do think because Taurus is all about money and investments, this retrograde Uranus is going to see a little bit more instability again in the financial world and the sort of the economic climate, which is not what any of us want to hear. But I think there's a lot of nervousness around because of, you know, the fact that we're coming into winter in the Northern Hemisphere, and we are going to go through quite a challenging time. Now, I have talked a lot about October in this overview, but I just feel it's important to get these points across. Your individual sun signs will probably not be quite as long, but they will hopefully have the more direct information that you require to navigate your way through October. So before you go on to that, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning into my channel, watching my videos, and subscribing to my channel. If you've not subscribed, I'd be super happy if you could. That would be fantastic. And the likes and shares are hugely, hugely appreciated. And also, if you would like to book a personal one-to-one session with me for astrology or life coaching, or you'll probably find it's a combination of both, in fact, then my website address is in the description box underneath the video. I think it's also just written here in the bottom of the video. So that's all I want to say for now. And so until next month, enjoy your October horoscopes. Thank you. Hey Aries, welcome to your October astrology for the Sun in Aries or for the Ascendant in Aries. Or if you happen to know where your moon is and it's in Aries, then check this out too. Okay, well, Aries, star of the show this month, I think, because we have a full moon on the 1st, so you're kind of setting the tone for the whole month, Aries. We have it in your first house of Aries. Also, it's conjunct Chiron. Now, Chiron is the wounded healer. Now, I'm just wondering, Aries, if you're having to or have had to be a bit of a therapist to someone, maybe several people, and in some ways, maybe this has to come to an end. And so this full moon could be bringing some kind of culmination. Hopefully, they've benefited through your care and your empathic responses, and it is actually time for them to sort of, you know, grow their own wings, if you like, and fly. And I think, Aries, because you are a cardinal sign and you do like to initiate things, so I think whilst you've got Chiron going through your first house, which will be quite a while, you know, the wounded healer, I think you are going to be noticing how much more people will come to you for help and advice. And because you too have experience from the past and wounds from the past, they put you in a good position to be able to enable others to transform themselves through your guidance. But also, Aries, you are impatient. And I think if you tell someone once, fine. You tell them twice, okay. 3 times, hey, come on. And 4 times, I think done is done. So Aries, you might find yourself getting impatient with some people. And that might also happen with this particular full moon on the 1st, because I think you want to make this new month of October really transform and quite different. So what else have we going on? Well, we need to talk about Pluto, one of the big boys, in your 10th house, because he is moving into a direct forward motion at last on the 4th of October. And this means that where you may have seen quite a lot of niggly delays with regard to your career, your kind of professional standing in the world, how you're seen in the public eye, things are going to start moving. And it may even see changing jobs again. It may be that, because I think that your career has been somewhat unsettled whilst Saturn, Pluto and Jupiter have been transiting this 10th house for you, this Capricorn house. And Jupiter, of course, is going to catch up with Pluto. Jupiter enlarges. So I think he could be bringing transformative, kind of positive changes for you with regard to your career. So that has to be good news, eh? So let's see what else we've got. Well, of course, we have a Mercury retrograde this month. Don't we all just love it when Mercury goes retrograde? Not. Okay, well, this one is happening on the 14th of October until the 3rd of November. Now, it's going to be moving from your 8th house of Scorpio into your 7th house of relationships. Well, you know, this could be quite interesting because, you know, first of all, I want to say about Mercury retrograde, it's not always the bad press that it shows, because actually, you know, sometimes Mercury retrograde gives us second chances. And the fact that it's going to be moving back into your 7th house of significant relationships, it may be that if you've been preoccupied perhaps with work, you may have been neglecting your significant life partner or soulmate. And I think Mercury retrograde is just kind of giving you a chance to perhaps redress the balance a bit in that department. Also, the other thing it could be is that you may hear from somebody from the past, somebody who perhaps has been a significant person in your life in some way, and they may get back in touch, because that can also be an element of Mercury retrograde. And it's interesting because also Libra is in the sort of the spotlight again, because we have a new moon there on the 16th. And I think that's quite interesting because it is in your 7th house. And I always think new moons in the 7th house, if you're single, Aries, which is always possible, it may be that this is a wonderful opportunity that you meet someone new. Even if it's not actually on the 16th, it means the energy is there. So if it's something that you would like to do, if you want to invite or attract somebody new into your life to become a really significant partner, then why not a new moon ritual to just kind of visualize that and just welcome it in and just see it happening. Then we have to come on to the full moon. Yes, 2 full moons this month. You can't have just the one, Aries, not in your sign. This is going to be a full moon on the 31st, Halloween, in Taurus, in your 2nd house of finance. And it's conjunct Uranus. Well, Uranus, of course, in your 2nd house of finance, has certainly been stirring things up a bit. It's probably felt a little bit like a washing machine, maybe a leaky washing machine with money going out, draining away when you actually want it to stay in. So what does this full moon mean? Well, you know, because it's Taurus, and Taurus is about sort of, in a sense, holding on and keeping hold of one's finances. You know, Taurians are usually quite good with their finances. Then perhaps you have to use this full moon in Taurus energy to actually repair this washing machine that is allowing everything to run away or wash away. So I did say to one of the other signs, I can't remember who it was, or maybe it was in the October overview, about money is a life force, if you like. It's the blood of our civilized society, civilized in loose terms. Because if it gets stuck and stagnant, then what happens is that society dies. Or, you know, if we have a blood clot, you know, stagnant blood in our physical system, then we will get sick and die. So basically this is about allowing money to be flowing. So are you, Aries, using money in a way of honoring that flow, of allowing it to be, of loving money? Because if we love money, then we attract it to us. So there's a wonderful book called The Science of Getting Rich. I can't remember the name of the author, but I will find it and perhaps put it in the description box underneath. But, you know, if we think in a certain way, if we respect the blood flow, the kind of the flow of money, of abundance, because money is actually another word for abundance. So if we allow that flow, then actually it can come in just as quickly as we allow it to move through. So I'm getting all philosophical. I'll move on. Okay, so that's the full moon on the 31st on Halloween. I hope Halloween treats you well, Aries, and doesn't bring any tricks. Or if they are tricks, let's hope they're pleasant ones. So on that note, Aries, I'd like to really wish you a lovely October. And, you know, it is the Libra month, so it's very much about relating. So see if you can really sort of bring some good communication into your relating. And if you've not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, I'd be super pleased if you could. You'll see the subscribe button just underneath this video, and that will also let you know when I have other videos coming up onto YouTube. Also, if you would like to have a one-to-one with me for either astrology or life coaching, it'll probably be a combination of both, because that tends to be the way I seem to work. And you'll see my website address just at the bottom of the video here. Okay, right. On that note, I want to say thank you again, Aries, and I really wish you a very blessed month of October. Bye for now.